have a word?
Do I have a choice?
Oh, darling. Probably not.
I didn't think so.
Oh, darling, I'm concerned that you may have set down an ovum.
Do you mean laid an egg?
Oh, yes, darling. Yes, that makes more sense.
Right.
Yes, darling, I am afraid that I can smell the bitter winds of failure.
Wow, that's dramatic.
Darling.
And kind of gross.
But don't fear, darling. You're not the first person to ever bungle something.
That's so comforting.
Butcher, botch, fall on your face, die on the vine, washed out, bombed, come up empty, flunk, fall short, fall, flop, flame out, flounder, fail.
Wow.
Yes, darling. I mean, someone thought that these were good ideas. Mirrored ceilings over public toilets. Someone actually had those installed, darling. Here's a miss on some sign design, huh? Yeah. That's not a good one, no. Whoops! Giant maxi-pad floaties. Further proof, darling, that we need more women in design. I don't think there were any women in the room that day. Here we have some insect killer spray, literally twilling with cooking spray. A child's shampoo bottle that cries red soap from its eyeballs. This is disturbing. Spider-Man Kleenex dispenser. I think that one was on purpose, darling. I think someone was having a chuckle, darling. New Coke, darling. Great new taste, darling. You'll love it. Great new taste. Thank goodness we saved the taste of cola. The Ford Pinto.
You're comparing one of my designs to a Pinto?
Well, just a little bit. So, darling, what are we going to do with this new Coke mirrored toilet floating maxi pad?
Well, I think I know this piece that you are speaking of, and I was thinking about redesigning it.
Excellent idea, darling.
Yeah.
Like people say these days, you can learn more from your failures than from your successes.
Right.
Of course, that's complete horse poop. It's always better just to do everything perfect the first time around. I really don't know why, darling. People just don't do that more often. Do you? Do you know why?
I guess it's just harder for some of us.
Oh, I suppose that's true, darling. Well, off you go. It's time to fix the giant floating maxi pad. Time to fix the maxi pad. Take the ceiling mirrors off, darling. Nobody wants that. It's no bueno. It's no good.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andy. Welcome to Furniture Fables. Failure! Failure. I don't like it. It's not my favorite. I don't like it. Really don't care for it. Try as we might, into every Furniture Fabler's life, a little failure must fall. It's kind of inevitable, but as much as it pains one to admit it is time to pivot, it really can provide an opportunity for growth, for insight, and maybe a little bit of fun.
Here's my adorable little failure now. Oh, it's okay. This is a 1980s or 90s TV stand that I converted into my version of a modern nursery nightstand. I used a fresh light blue paint and a whimsical forest stencil on the oak doors after giving them a light paint wash. I added some paper reminiscent of Where the Wild Things Are and a piece of acrylic to give the back kind of a unique look. Unfortunately, that piece of acrylic never truly felt secure to me, so I ended up switching it back out for the original backing. I also added new feet, which gave the nightstand some good height, and I thought it was really cute. To me, it said baby, but kind of in a fresh and modern way. Sadly, though, it did not sell. Maybe I priced it wrong. Perhaps folks looking for nursery furniture tend to prefer matching sets, or perhaps for most people, it was just a design miss. I could have let it ride for a while longer, but I thought it might be a fun piece to redo and share that process with you and see if I could maybe challenge myself to make it over into something that I still felt good about, but that was also easier to sell. And so, saying so long to this first round creation, I began. I started by removing those oak doors. There's my favorite magnet parts tray that John gave me. I'll link that along with everything else I use in the description box if you'd like to check that out. Then I took out all of the paper. Now it's time to pop off that back. And unscrew those feet. Okay, I'm going to be cleaning with my simple green wipes. The great thing about a redo of your own work is that most likely your piece isn't too dirty and a lot of prep work has already been done. It appears I have spoken too soon. Yes, after mulling it over a bit, I decided to take this opportunity to hit a detail I had skipped the last time. I mixed up some Bondo, which is a super strong 2-part epoxy wood filler that I use all of the time, and I used it to fill in all of the cracks on the outside of the stand's body. I think that this will help to give the piece a little bit more of a polished, modern look. Oh, how I wish I had sealed these doors with a poly top coat, but alas, I used wax. Which means I need to give it my all to get that wax off before I do any sanding so that I don't grind the wax down into the wood fibers. I started off with some mineral spirits. Oops, gotta remove those magnets. The mineral spirits should help to loosen the wax a bit, and then I'm actually going to use a coat of some chemical stripper and let that sit for a couple of hours. Okay, the Bondo was dry, so I gave it a good sanding with my detail sander, being careful of those cool 80s rounded edges. So great to have a foam abrasive option. If you don't have an electric detail sander like this one, you can absolutely find foam options in just a basic hand sander. Then I hit those newly sanded areas with some primer. Okay, for my new design plan, I think we need some bronze. Maybe kind of an olive bronze. I didn't have anything perfect on hand, so I decided to have some fun and do a little color mixing. I grabbed these two colors, Woodwick and Everett by Fusion Mineral Paint, and I mixed equal parts of them together. Once that was mixed, I checked out my new color in comparison to the two that I had just mixed together and decided to add a little bit more of the Woodwick. So it was more like a 2-to-1 mix. This time I really liked what I saw, and so I went ahead and I mixed up my paint. So I am going to go for a very smooth, modern look. So I'm going to use my Staalmeester Roller again. I just used this on that mid-century dresser that was our first fable of this season. I got such a great result with it. It gave me such a nice, smooth finish. So I really wanted to give it a try again. You can see that it did stain the material on that roller, but it should be just fine. I began rolling on my custom color and, of course, was immediately grossed out. But you know what? That's kind of always how I feel when I roll on the first coat of a bronze color. You know, it kind of reminds me of those diaper changing days long ago. So even though I was kind of bummed to see that very pretty, icy baby blue get covered up, I promised myself I wouldn't judge this color that I had created until I saw at least 2 coats of it. This first coat's gonna be rough, friends. It's not gonna be pretty. After I rolled as much as I could, I got out my new Zibra brush kit, and I chose their square brush to help me get into all of those curved grooves that I couldn't reach with the roller. Okay, time to scrape. I used my metal scraper to remove as much of that chemical stripper as possible, and then I scrubbed the doors with some mineral spirits. While the doors dried, I gave the stand its second coat. Okay, I'm kind of liking this a bit more. But you know, I knew that I could always punt. And by that I mean I could just switch to Everett or Woodwick on their own. And they're both lovely colors, mixed by professionals. So we'll see. Once my doors had dried, I began sanding them, first using a 60 grit in hopes of blasting off any residual wax, and then working my way up to a 220 grit. Okay, I gathered 3 stains that I had on hand, and I took a look at them again in comparison to one another. I actually added some natural or no color SFO stain and finishing oil by Fusion to my cappuccino version of that, just because I was kind of running low on the cappuccino shade. And then I compared all of those 3 colors. I decided to go with this honey color by Minwax. Nice and warm. It looks like it's going to be nice and warm. I kind of still wanted to do a little bit of a test, so I applied it to the back of just one of the doors, and was kind of weirded out when I saw these little blotches appear, which I don't remember ever seeing before working with a stain. Oh no, I thought there's still wax on the doors. The wax must be causing this. It's going to be a disaster. Oh no. But 15 minutes later, the door looked like this. So keeping my fingers crossed and following the directions, I wiped back the stain using a lint-free cloth in the direction of the wood grain. Ooh. Okay. Not too terrible. Actually, really liking what I saw. I figured that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I continued on, adding the stain to the rest of the door surfaces and wiping them back after letting it sit on them all for about 15 minutes. Once they were done, I set them to dry. The instructions say that they will be dry to the touch in only 2 hours and ready for top coat in 4, which is pretty great. Okay, last coat, and I'm still sticking with my custom color. I decided to start with my non-rollable areas first and then smooth those connections out as best I could with my last roller coat. Okay, let's bring some on-trend pattern to our redo. This is some Next Wall garden pattern wallpaper in forest green. That has become quite popular lately. And can I just please point out that I picked this out well before it was enjoying its current 15 minutes of fame. I know, nobody cares, Andy, nobody asked. But I just want it known that I am not jumping on the bandwagon with this wallpaper. I was already on the wagon, or I am the wagon, or something. Well, anyway, you get the picture. I used the paper to line the bottom of the 2 shelves, but decided to keep the grass cloth I had on the back wall. I thought it worked actually pretty great with those birds and berries. Failure. I managed to break the little hinge doohickey thing, and I discover a good little sanding mark on one of the doors. So I'm not going to seal them up. I'm going to stage it as best as I can without actually using the correct hardware. I'll sand that door back down and get that sand mark out of it and restain it. Then I will seal the doors. And in the meantime, I will order whatever the heck this is called. I can't even think anymore. I don't even know. I'll order one of these dudes and I will put the doors in properly. I can't believe this. On this piece, the failure piece, and this happens. It's sort of poetic. Okay. It's gonna be fine. It'll be fine. Yes, all will be well. I'll make those repairs after I share this fable with you. But for now, let's add one more hit of style coolness to help elevate our piece into a more sellable range, these cool brass covered caster feet. I've actually used these guys a couple of times, and they always bring such a great texture and style to a piece without being too flashy. Okay, do you remember our 80s TV stand turned nursery nightstand? Cute and friendly, light and bright and sweet, but not sellable? Well, here he is. Now. Baby boy is all grown up. Warmed up in a coat of bronze, our once nightstand is now ready for nightlife as a cool bar. What was whitewashed and stenciled is now dark, rich, and sophisticated. And those on-trend shoes can travel wherever this versatile table is needed. Did I learn from my failure? I suppose the proof will be in the pudding. But either way, I'm glad I kept trying.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost over 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted with the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Thank you, Michael Jordan. So what did my test corrections cost me? Well, of course, that TV stand was free. I already owned it. I spent about $20 on primer and paint combined. Those cool caster wheels were $15. I used about $8 or $9 worth of that wallpaper. And I'll throw in another $10 for Bondo, sanding pads, stripper, mineral oil, rags, and stain, bringing my total out-of-pocket cost to $54. So what might I list it for? Well, obviously there was the cost of the first makeover, but that's not really any future customers' problem. The feet and the stencil from the first makeover are of course reusable, so that's not a loss. So I think I will chalk the cost of that first makeover up to professional development. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. And for this little bar slash side table slash nightstand, I think it would be a really cute little nightstand still. A price of $200 seems about right. Come on, little side table. You can do it. Get sold. So what did you think? Did you like that bronze, or are you missing that baby blue? How about that custom color mix? On the nose or not so much? You can tell me. Leave me a comment, make sure to like if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future game-winning 3-pointers. Nothing but net, or a lot of backboard. Hey, whatever works. Thank you so much for joining me, my friends. I will see you next time for more Furniture Fables.